One started nearly 6 decades ago. The other is currently embracing her passions. They are both Black women, separated by generations, who are activists for civil rights.
In honor of Black History Month, we took a closer look at their journeys and found that through the years, the fight for change hasn't changed.
Their feet soar, their voices hoarse, their struggles substantial, all in the name of civil rights. Kathleen Kirkwood's passion for activism started at 17 on April 4th of 1968.
And my sister and I were at the jury counter and we overheard that he had been assassinated.
It was the death of Dr. King that transformed Kirkwood from a Memphis high school student to an activist for civil rights. What Dr. King fought for now became her fight.
In that process, I joined the Freedom Choir. I did went to a lot of rallies, and as time went on, I participated in my very first march with my father.
As Kirkwood sat draped in the original blanket she was given to keep warm on those freedom marches, she reflected on the issues that drew her into the streets: civil rights, police brutality, equality, and criminal justice.
At 71, I'm just as much an activist today as I was when I was 17 years old. It made me realize that I can't say that I had a calling, but I knew that I could, and I felt that I must make some changes and differences, and the only way to do that was to become active and use my passion to try to create a different kind of world.
In all his 67, 70 years of living, he's never went to school with a white person. And I feel like that makes me realize that these times weren't that long ago.
17-year-old Jasmine Teague is an activist who learned about civil rights from her granddad. He helped build churches in Atlanta, the cradle of the civil rights movement, and met icons like Rosa Parks and Coretta Scott King. Speaking with him made her realize something.
Some of these people who hated people like me and people like my grandfather are still living to this day. It makes me realize how much we still need to push for change within our society. I want to see an America where diversity, inclusion exists, and equity within all forms, whether that be social, cultural, and governmental and political.
From Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to George Floyd, and from Jasmine Teague to Kathleen Kirkwood, the names may have changed, but the struggle for civil rights, police brutality, equality, and criminal justice within the African American community has stayed the same. But with every chant, with every step, with every struggle, it's the hope that's remained unchanged, and so the fight continues.
If you really believe this is right, and I'm doing the right thing for our nation, keep going.
May 2nd, 1968, I got on a double-decker bus called the Freedom Train, the first caravan of the Poor People's Campaign.
Kirkwood has written a children's book called Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Round, the title taken from a freedom song. It documents her life growing up as a teenager during that time. It's her way of giving back while instilling her passion in others.
My dream is to be able to crisscross the United States, teaching and educating, birthing young activists. That's what I'm trying to do all the time.
Well, Teague has dreams of attending college while continuing her activism. I asked Ms. Kirkwood where she thought the world would be in 50 years. She says she hopes that the world would come together and work towards the positives for mankind. But as she looks at the world today, this is why she continues to fight.